Most times we give away our power way too easily. Stay with me. I get a text message, I respond right away. I get a reaction from someone in my circle, extended circle, even people I no longer keep in touch with, I respond right away. From the outside looking in, it looks like I live a very posh life, a VIP life, but I'm just an ordinary person. I have an AMG C63S, and I worked hard for that car. Oh, yes, sir, I did. And this is my second one. In context, it looks like I have a lot going on, but really, not from a celebrity style. Far from it. In fact, not even anywhere close to it. But people will push you, people will test you. Can they access you? Can they get access to you? If I text you, will you text back? Be it a girl, your brother, your girlfriend, someone you're pursuing, your family, extended circle, social networks. But yet, isn't it funny that when you reach out to them and when you text them something, you don't get a response back, right? What I've learned over time as a Gen Xer is that I've always been giving my power away way too easily. I've always been giving my attention to things, whether they deserve it or no, way too easily. And for that, I have paid the price dearly. See, what happens is when you start to be so accessible, you tend to give your power away very quickly. Quickly. There's something that happens on the other side of that person saying, hey, this guy is always responding, or this girl is always on standby. They probably don't have anything to do. Huh, all right. This person will always be there. Oh, that's him. He's always going to be there. You know, short of this being like a dating kind of a situation, right? Advice, and this video is not intended for that, but it can also work in that context, is that learn to sit still. Walk, no pun intended. Like, I'm not being, it's so ironic, right? I'm saying learn to sit still, but then I'm walking, which is great. But learn to just not respond right away to anything, to anyone. Unless it's your boss, of course, and you're in a corporate environment that needs escalation and all that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just your personal boundaries, right? Observe how other people treat you, how they respond to you when you send out a message, when you text someone, when you follow up with someone, when you are very due diligent about keeping a connection, sustaining a connection. What's your energy levels, your fuel tank, your psychological gas tank? Pay attention to that very closely. Are you being gaslit? Are you really being supported, or is someone gaslighting you? Right? This can happen from very close within your circle. Like, this can happen by people, with people within your circle. And gaslighting is I've experienced gaslighting from my own people, which is why I've embraced solitude, the power of just being alone. I have a girlfriend, meaning like most of the time I love my privacy, my solitude. I thrive in that. I don't fear it because I'm very self-sufficient and I have self-improved. That's my life. If you can't have a meal alone anywhere, you're a dangerous man or a woman. And you don't care about people, you're a dangerous person. Within reasonable means, of course. Like, of course we care what people think and the respect and all that, but figuratively, I mean, it's like what people think of you, good or bad, shouldn't define what your actions are going to be, who you would like to be, as long as you're good here in your core. And the stronger your core, the stronger your belief, and the more you look inward, the more you take back your power. One of the quickest ways to take back your power, this is going to sound really bad. You got to cut him off, man. There's no sugarcoating this. It's not pretty. Cutting off people is not pretty. Cutting off people that have overstayed their duration, their time was up last year, 2023. Now we're almost at 2024. What are they doing in your life still? Don't you feel any different when you're around these people that you just feel like a drain? on your fuel tank. Mentally, you always feel drained, right? Narcissism, that's a topic for another day. But this is about you. What why do you give people like that so much importance? Many of us chase validation from not just our romantic partners, but from socially, right? Maybe you are one of those people that's pouring into their cup way too often, way too much. And you've just made it a habit. And you often ask yourself, why do I feel like crap? But you have to look inward. Is that how have you enabled them to treat you, right? You have enabled them. You've taught them. We teach people how we would like to be treated. Because we don't learn the first time, we ignore the red flags. That's it. The power has always been with us, my friends. We always have the power. It's inside, it's internal, it's a very spiritual thing. You know, we can't trust people entirely to protect our well-being and our interests. You have to be really good within. Like, you have to put up your boundaries, your barriers and borders, and be very, very careful on who you let into your life. And I'm not just talking about romantically, I'm just talking about in general, psychologically, your well-being. Because, people are sick, man. Like, there's a lot of people who just, they don't like to see you happy. I mean, that's really it. Your happiness should be your happiness from within, and who you share that with, you have to be very careful. So be very careful on how you share the good news. Social media, sure, it's up to you on how you do that. I'm pretty loud. I post stuff, but when they want access to me, they're not going to have access to me. I've already made a deal with myself. That's just, I know who you are. You're an acquaintance. I know you from afar. It's better that way. You can watch my highlights, but you ain't coming into my sphere. No thanks. So you have to examine that, right? And what I have discovered is that the more I've cut out people who no longer serve me, who no longer really add to my life, but were just dead weight. Now they're spectators. I can see them on my stories on Instagram. People not only fade, but they just become quieter. They fade into the background, and you realize over time that they really were who you thought they were. Freaking chameleons, Yeah, bro. Yes, sis. But you ever wonder when you achieve milestones why these people are so quiet and they just seem to look the other way? Like as a man, right? For me, myself, as a Gen X, I'm just gonna talk in like how a guy would say, right? Talk, but let me get in character. Oh yeah, bro. I don't see you, bro. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you got a cool car. Yeah, bro. Oh, you look great, bro. Oh, I see you in the room, bro. None of that. None of the dabs. You know, none of the building up. None of the praises. You don't really need the praises, but you kind of get to know people through your milestones and who's there for you and who's not. And let me just tell you, man, most people don't want to see you do well. You can do well enough, but just not better than them. That's the reality. And I have separated so far from so many people, which is a primary reason why I left California 2 years ago, and now I reside in Las Vegas, Nevada. But you can smell the jealousy, and I knew this was there 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. But some of us, many of us, it takes years and years of hard lessons to develop and realize that I can no longer ignore the red flags, the fakeness, right? Most of these people were fake around me, like real fake cheerleaders. And my validation, not that I was seeking it, came from external sources. It came from people and from areas and environments and strangers who I never would suspect were watching me the whole time. And I'm not saying they would treat you like God, but the way they respected you And the genuine, honest feedback in person that I would get would blow me away. And I'm like, my people don't really care for me this way. Like, this lifestyle that I'm living of self-improvement is, I just do it, bro. Like, because this is all I know. Like, this is what makes me better. This is a non-negotiable in my life, and this is how I take my power back and have my power, maintain, sustain my power. It's also a mentality. So thank you. But this once then, in hindsight, this reaffirms all those thoughts and feelings and the reads that I had with people. You know, it confirms all of those. How other people, external people, new people, like way outside my radius and that circle I used to have, treat me is night and day. They respect me so much more. And I'm truly humbled. They see me put in the work. You know, my neighbors, like this track that I'm walking on, I bet you there are people living on this side of the house watching me with a gimbal every time I come up here. And now you sort of get this label like, hey, there's this guy that walks here and I think he's a content creator. Oh, I think there's this guy here who walks and he's brave and he's talking to a gimbal and a camera and he's doing some good. Like I said, if I saw someone doing this, I would salute them because it just, one, it looks super cool, but two, doesn't it feel great to create stuff? Doesn't it give you a sense of power, like humbly speaking, like you own this moment, this background, this everything that's going on right now. This is your moment. You are trying to make something out of this. Doesn't that make you feel good? You know, most people don't want to even see you doing this. When I started from zero a couple of years ago, 1 year ago, you know, there was a lot of naysayers. And this is not even about like views, subs, but I'm like 200 something videos in, I think, or 300. I'm not even keeping track anymore. I'm very loose now. And in that lies my power, is I really don't care. I'm not tied to an outcome anymore. And that's where I probably should end this video, is that you have to remain so independent of outcomes and just trust the process. There we go. Trust the process, because this process, I can tell you, one, it's lifelong. There's no pot of gold at a destination, and there never is a destination. In fact, there's a benchmark. Each time you get to the quote unquote dotted line, the finish line, then comes the next finish line. Then comes the next 1,000 miles or 10,000 steps. Then comes the next gallon of water. Then comes the next phase of sleep therapy. Then comes a different level of protein intake. You see where I'm going with this? A lot of this process is self-made. A lot of the pain is self-instilled. You don't have to look any further or blame anyone than yourself. I blame myself for everything that's happened. So always look inward. And if you're searching for answers through someone and other people, circles, circumstances, why does this happen to me? You already have the answer. Your intuition will tell you. If you're a little bit younger, I can understand. But if you're a little older like myself, Gen X, you have really no excuse to keep making those mistakes, because we have lived a little bit. We should be in a position to show the way, the light, and offer alternative advice to others younger than us. And that's why I'm doing this video. I went from being that guy that used to give my power away to every single one because I was just such a nice guy. When I started self-improving and started putting on some muscle, you know, eating right, looking a certain way in my clothes, speaking a certain way, my energy shifted, changed, I smelled nicer, started taking care of myself, the world shifted. They started treating me differently. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you found some relief in this video. Hopefully it was uplifting, and whatever you're going through, I hope you can disconnect from the negativity and realize that you hold the power ultimately to your happiness, and you have the keys to turn on the success success meter to your path forward. And on that note, keep walking forward. Mama out.